process of aligning so that all of our policies are aligned in terms of public participation by proposing policies. But policy 1300 was the first that was brought to my attention as being confusing. So this edit helps align with recommendations by the Iowa School Board Association and in response to the confusion, so that we now bring proposed policies and proposed agenda items to the board to be voted on, so that there's more transparency in the decision-making process.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of policy 1300.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded.
I'm sorry, Kellen, what policy number is that one?
1300.
Okay. Just trying to, okay,
Can I ask a question on that?
1300.
Sorry.
Okay.
I see it, okay, no problem.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. First reading passes.
So I'd just like to make a comment. That policy will come for a second reading at the next, and it is posted on the website, so it would be available for
And the April meeting, correct?
Yes, it will be
Yes.
available for public comment.
And then, is that where you can debate that?
It would be available for public comment, yes.
Okay.
Okay, J is where we're at now, is the third reading of the electronic communication device. This policy, is about the cell phones, and this policy, I will review it carefully to be sure that there's no edits that have to be made, with the law that the, legislature just passed, but that law was aligned with the governor's, distraction-free learning mandate. And so I don't anticipate any changes, but this would be the third reading of that. We accepted it for third reading. And so this is just moving forward to continue that.
Well, do we want to still review that again, Joe?
That really is up to you. I don't know that there will be edits, but you could choose to not accept it for the third reading, which would give me this next until the April meeting to just double check to be sure it aligns with the new law.
What's your
I
table?
propose that we would table it until the next meeting, to give you more time to look at it, make sure, rather than start over again.
I'll second it. You're gonna make a motion to table it.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to that, yeah, to table.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to table, the third reading of policy 3265. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, it's been tabled until the next meeting.
Thank you. The next action item, in the actual board meeting, we voted on the 25-26 and then the 26-27 school calendars. I think if the board chooses to vote on them together at this point, it is fine. You've heard from Sean McKinney about his extensive work. They align very closely with the current calendar, and I think it's really important that we have them out there for the community.
Yeah, and I've already had some,
Motion to approve both calendars for 25 and 26, 27.
and I've had some feedback that people appreciate getting two calendars,
Yeah.
2 years.
2 years in a row, so.
Yeah, which it's helpful for people for planning things, so.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve both years' calendars. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 25-26 and 26-27 school calendars have been approved.
The next one is the intent to open negotiations. Our first meeting will be April 7th.
I'll make a motion to open negotiations on April 7th.
I'll second.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Negotiations will be open with their first meeting April 7th.
Right. And even though we are doing redo, we are still within the time frame to abide by the master agreement of having done so by the end of March. That was one of the other caveats for redoing this.
Quickly.
Yeah, because that has to be done by the end of this month. So Day 14 for correcting the open meeting violation is Tuesday, but that is April 1st, and that puts us in violation of our master agreement. So there were several items in play as to why this morning, in addition to the fact that the next one is the freshman event that is September 5th and 6th that many community groups are coming together for. One piece of feedback I heard was, why are we taking money from the SRO? The money that is coming from a grant that also pays for the SRO, they are diverting, or they've asked permission, and the city council agreed. There was a different device they were going to purchase, and I could tell you what it is. It starts with an S, but I may mispronounce it. It was something about a spiral monitor or something. They have not chosen to purchase that, therefore those funds were still available. That is where some of those funds come from. This does not divert money from our SRO, but it is from the same grant, and so they had to get approval to change the designation of that. That approval also must come from the grantee, and so they are working on getting that approval as well, just so people are aware, because I did hear, people were upset, why are we taking money from the SRO? This is not money from the SRO, it is money that was intended to purchase something that they are choosing not to purchase, so.
So does this mean Joe, taking this money that supposedly didn't come from the SRO, if it was part of the same fund, can it go towards the SRO? Or not?
It was, so regardless of how it is spent, it has to have approval. So the SRO is fully funded for, I believe, the next, don't quote me on this. There's a grant that fully funds the SRO, and that extends through, I believe, the next 4 years. In that grant, there was different categories of things that were asked for, and they had determined that they were not going to purchase this device, so that therefore they would be using this money towards this other thing instead, if the grantee approves it.
I will move that we approve the freshman event September 5th through 6th.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the freshman event? All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item is the approval of the 5th grade bike ride, May 29th. And for both of these events, I've already been in touch with our insurance carrier to be sure we have the appropriate coverage and such. The 5th grade bike ride is on the last day of school, leaving Pioneer after the kindergarten graduation, because that would have been a conflict riding down to the Chute Bridge with police and everything. They will ride across the bridge, they'll shut down the bridge, and then there's an area that is held, some land that's held there by, I believe, the land trust, so that we will use for a barbecue.
Make a motion to approve the 5th grade bike ride for May 29th.
I'll second.
Okay, second.
It's been moved and seconded for the 5th grade bike ride, May 29th. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, it's been approved.
The next one is the every 15 minutes event, and this is in response to the concerning trends in the community that are indicate increased student alcohol use and decreased concerns from parents. And so that is the May 21st and 22nd, to help raise awareness and help make the potential consequences more understandable by our teens as to how severe and how terrifying that could be.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the every 15-minute event.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, every 15 minutes event, May 21st, 22nd is approved.
Okay, the next item is participation in the Power School class action lawsuit. This was related to the data breach. This is the one where, somebody that normally goes in to repair things, their login was compromised. So somebody accessed, Power School in districts across the US and in Canada. It's the one where they have offered, use of some, credit monitoring and, identity theft monitoring for at least 2 years. The participation in a class action lawsuit, the purpose for that is so that we can recoup the cost of the time district staff put in to address this.
I'll make a motion that we participate in the Power School class action lawsuit.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes.
The next one is to authorize me to research electronic payment vendors so that we can have students pay for, have parents be able to pay for school-related items electronically. I don't know what vendor will come out on top. It will depend on fees and such. I know at least one does connect to Power School and others do not. So, I don't know what I will end up bringing to you, but the request is that you authorize me to move forward with researching that so I can bring you options.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to authorize the superintendent to research electronic payment vendors.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
Yes, discussion.
Yes,
Yeah, the thing is that will parents still be allowed to pay the old-fashioned way?
Absolutely.
if they wanna pay with cash, they absolutely can. Yep,
Cash or check, yeah.
cash or check, yeah, that would be normal. Right now, we just have, I've had quite a few people tell me that they wanna send their credit card with their kid to pay it off, and we don't have the means to take it, so,
Okay.
yeah.
That's fine, that's fine.
For the record, I will not ever encourage any parent to send their child with their credit card.
Okay.
Yeah,
Especially if they're teenagers.
but maybe the parent, yeah, exactly, but it still makes it way easier. Flo has said that she's had quite a few people come to her and wanting to pay it off with a credit card, and then when they can't, they leave, and so I think it would clear up some of the, outstanding, food tab that we have.
Well, that's gonna depend upon what they charge, that's the thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have to be very transparent in that because that is not a fee that we can absorb,
Yeah,
so.
No, we could legally pass it on to the parent.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, we would have to, and so we'd wanna be very transparent about all of that.
so this is just the preliminary of just researching a payment vendor to use, and then obviously if we find something, decide on something, that'll come to the board for approval also, so, yep, okay.
Yeah, and with that, one of the research things that I will be doing is getting with all the superintendents in the region to find out what they use and if they like it, pros and cons, so that we have people who are currently using those different systems give their feedback.
You said Power School has an option.
Power School itself does not. There are vendors that connect and integrate with Power School. But Power School itself, to my knowledge, I guess I shouldn't say they don't, to my knowledge, they do not. There are vendors that cooperate with them, but, so. The next one,
We haven't voted.
oh, I'm sorry.
So that was moved and seconded, we had further discussion, all those in favor of, directing Jill to research into electronic payment vendors?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
no, you're okay.
Okay, the next thing is to move the June board meeting to Pioneer Elementary. Due to the fact that the high school is having their major, the electrical panel upgrade, and during that time, the power will be out at the high school. With extension cords to the servers so that there's still, internet for the district office.
I will move that we change the June board meeting to Pioneer for location.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded,
Who seconded that?
Adam did. All those in favor of moving the June board meeting to Pioneer?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, the next one was the Philanthropy Northwest grant, and this was to support that grant that Brianne Green, proposed, and this grant would start the process of the abatement of the hazardous materials at the old senior high, well, the old building. So in terms of this is, I'm requesting a motion to support the application.
I will will move that we support the application for the Philanthropy Northwest grant.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay, the next are to address, the publicly submitted policies. They were handed to the board in the January board meeting. The board did not need to do anything with that at that time, so in the, at that time when they were submitted for consideration, so we need to re-vote. The policy 2050, we should vote on them separately. The vote can be to tentatively adopt it as written, return it for revision, or not adopt or give consideration. Policy 2050 has the definitions of many different gender identities, sexual orientation, and all that sort of thing. In the original, vote, that one was voted to be returned for revision due to some, number errors and such.
Make a motion that we revise proposed policy 2050. I'll second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded to return for revision on policy 2050, gender identity and sexual orientation. Any further discussion on that?
I think the main discussion was to make sure to follow the current law that was passed last year, right?
Yeah, that and make sure it points to things in our own policy book. Yeah. Okay, all those in favor of returning, 2050 for revision?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries.
Okay, proposed policy 2525 was on the classroom environment, was the name of it. It is the one that, goes through the specific flags. It was not looked at due to the fact that we didn't have a law at that point. So, it
We
was,
do now,
yeah, we do.
assigned.
Yes, it goes into effect July 1, and the question will be in the future if the board wants a separate standalone policy or to address this within the, controversial issues policy, so.
I'd say propose standalone, make it easier. Or
In this case, we just need to vote on policy 2525 as to.
So this one's just on the 2525.
Okay.
We will be, in this next meeting, looking at the first reading of our classroom environment policy being updated to have, the new law reflected in it.
I'll make a motion to not adopt 2525 just for the reasons stated.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I like to look at the law and the proposed policy, so.
Yeah.
It's policy.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of, not adopting 2525 as written? Aye.
Aye.
And Rich is abstaining?
I guess, just to clarify, Rich, where the thought is to get the policy that whatever policy we have is to just match what the new law says. So it doesn't, yeah.
So I'd like to see, you know, what goes with what, that's it.
Yeah.
Just sit down with it, both of them.
And those will, yeah, and those will come in, that'll come in this next meeting, we'll have the first reading on that one.
Okay, cool, alright.
The next item was the agenda item request, that was submitted by, Jeremiah Martin to vote on the removal of the transgender flag in the April meeting.
Can we?
We have, it's for an agenda item, though, correct?
Right,
Yeah, so this is, requesting to be on the agenda for the next meeting.
I'll make a motion to put it on the agenda.
Can we have discussion before we do that? I just wanted to talk about, like, we know that it's going to be an issue in July. Is there any way we can make that like more of a broad? I mean, can we modify his request to be on it, or does it have to be as written?
I I would think it'd have to be, like, we can't modify his request is what it was. And I mean, technically, we already voted to put him on the agenda, so in this special meeting going back, I don't think that it would be very transparent to switch, you know what I
Okay.
mean? I don't think that'd be a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where I
understand what
where
you're
I was
saying.
going
Yeah.
with that would be like, if we just say, basically the issue is when are we going to be compliant with House Bill 41? Is it July 1st, or are we gonna try to do something earlier? I guess was where I was going with that, but.
Yeah.
That's what we discussed in the April meeting, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that
Right, yeah,
with this, I mean, we're trying to, yeah, we voted on this in public with the public around, and
okay,
And this is just to put it on the agenda to discuss it, whether we're going to remove it or not remove it, correct?
yeah,
Yep. Correct.
yes, yeah. Okay,
I'll second.
so it's been moved by Rich, seconded by Sean. All those in favor of adding the removal of the transgender flag to the next meeting? The April agenda, yes, yep. Okay, aye. Okay, that carries.
Okay, that was a 5-0 vote, correct?
Yes, yep.
I think.
Okay, if, there is no further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
It's been moved
I'll second.
and seconded. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Meeting's adjourned at 7:33.
Thank you.